I had this really weird synchronicity happen. I'm in Ecuador. We're traveling like up into the rainforest to spend a couple of days in a different location after being in Quito. It's us in this tiny little town up in the mountains. Like there's nothing there, but they happen to have a couple of little shops where the locals sell their stuff. So we go in, and if you've watched any of my stuff, you know that I like jewelry. I make my own jewelry. I like jewelry. It doesn't have to be fancy or expensive, but I tend towards silver. It's just what I've always worn. They had some gorgeous silver in there, but I kept coming back to this little bracelet that was just beads. They weren't even painted beads. They were just plain little beads that looked like they might be a seed. They weren't rock. Well, it was some kind of a seed. It looked like a seed. I pick up this little seed bracelet and I wore it for the entire rest of the trip. What was weird though is that on that same trip, I bought this before this event happened. As we're up in the mountains, up in the cloud forest, I had the opportunity to spend a few hours with a local shaman, literally a shaman that was in the rainforest of Ecuador, in a grass skirt, in a hut that was his home, that required two interpreters to even be able to talk to him because the language that he spoke wasn't even a written language. We walk in the door and he's wearing his ceremonial garb, and among that is a really long necklace of these same seeds that I was so drawn to in that little store. Mental note, I'm like, okay, it's weird because that isn't the kind of thing I would normally be drawn to. I go home, and it isn't until the seed bracelet breaks, like 3 years later, that I look up the purpose of these. Apparently, they're traditionally worn by healers and shamans in the Andes, in Peru and Ecuador, because they have protective benefits and all kinds of other things that a shaman would use. And I was drawn to them.